What's poppin' and welcome back to another video. Today is a Wednesday in the middle of April. I think it's like 13th of April or something like that. And it's 7 o'clock at night and I'm about to start coding. I have a couple of things to do on my gyro board. I think I'm gonna start off with the easier ones. Not really easier ones, but the ones that I think are gonna be less time consuming than the entire, redoing the whole audio or adding the payment module, etc, etc. So let's get to a little bit of a montage of that.
So my first task of the day was to make the whole menu swipeable. And by swipeable we have this nice feature where you can go to the main page and you can swipe to the right and you end up on the search page. You can swipe to the left and you end up on the main page again. You can swipe right 2 times and end up on the category page, etc. Kind of like this nice feature which quite a lot of apps have, like a lot of the email apps for example. So I worked a lot on implementing this. I had some problems because I couldn't get the menu to change. I could get the whole screen to swipe, but I had issues getting the little button at the bottom to change and also work both ways, because you should also be able to swipe and you should be able to press the button which you want to direct your screen to. But after a little while I found a nice YouTube video which kind of showed me how to do this. I resolved some errors which I had and then I tested it out and I was like, damn, I'm done with this feature. But then when I came to it I was like, damn, I have so many horizontal list views that why do I have this swipeable feature? It just confuses me. It even confuses me and I've made this app.
But now afterwards when I'm testing it, this is one of the pieces of feedback I got from some random tester on YouTube, so thanks for that, whoever submitted that. But now when I'm looking later, I'm not so sure about it anymore, because let me show you why. So obviously it's a little bit more laggy on the whole simulator, but currently I can swipe like this and I can get to, the search page, I can swipe and I can get to the category page, or I can get to the profile page. And that in itself is all good and dandy. However, I'm thinking that's a little bit annoying because I've got all of these swiping things here, I got a swiping thing there, they're all linear kind of list views, or horizontal list views, sorry. So I'm thinking if I have this swiping thing, it's gonna be a little bit confusing, because if you miss swipe and you swipe here instead of, this one, then that's gonna be a little bit misleading. So my thinking is that I'm actually gonna remove this, because I think pressing like this is more than fine enough. Yeah, I've decided I don't like it. It was a good idea and it was worth testing, but I don't like it when it comes to the actuality of the app, because I didn't think it interferes with all of our horizontal list views. So let's remove that. And this is why it's so good using GitHub, because now what I can do is I can just head over to this little thing here, and I have all of my changes here since my last commit. I can just discard the changes, and then we're back to what we had before. So if I then reload the app again, I have now removed that feature. So then we're back to the good old tapping. So that's why you gotta make sure you use GitHub. Now I just spent 40 minutes coding that whole thing for nothing, but oh well, you live and you learn. You gotta try these things out and see what they feel like, and if they don't feel good, you gotta discard them. People come with good ideas, sometimes they're good, sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't, and you just gotta test them out. But I think, yeah, it was worth a try. I removed it now though, you saw why, and now I think we're gonna get on to the next part, which I believe is we're gonna look into a Google SignIn bug. So let's get to it.
So the fundamental issue that I had is that my app have 2 options to sign in with Google. You can either sign in with Google or you can sign up with Google. And obviously the logic is that you first sign up so that you can later sign in. However, some people sign in straight away, and this is not anything that I noticed, but some people noticed this when they were bug testing. So we need to have an issue. We had an issue where there was no user created when you sign in with Google and hadn't signed up before, and it kind of crashed the app. So I solved this by adding this little function here that I'm highlighting on the screen, where I check first if the Google user is an actual user in the website, and if there's no record existing for this user, then we create a user instance inside of the database before we pop the whole thing. And so essentially, let me show you the issue. Here I am signing in with Google when I don't have an account, and we kind of show an issue like this.
Alright, I have now sorted out the whole Google issue. I've also fixed some sizing, on the iPad there was some sizing that was wrong. I had some zero storage for that. I didn't really film that because it was quite boring stuff, but It is 9:37. I have work tomorrow. It's Thursday. I'm gonna head to bed. A good solid hour, 2 hours of coding now, so I'm really happy about that. Got some good issues solved, and now we're getting to that point where we can start moving on to the whole payment and the whole audio, which will be the two main issues that we have before we can complete the app. So I'll see you the next time I code and the next time I film. What's poppin'? It's a new day. It's Friday. I think yesterday I didn't really do anything. I was just working, and I saw some friends in the evening because it's Easter here in Sweden, and apparently you celebrate the stuff. So I'm actually off today. It's Good Friday, whatever that is. But I just came back from the gym. I had something to eat, and now we're gonna get back to coding. We have some issues to solve with this whole Google signing thing, because right now I have this issue that when you sign in with Google and you already have an account with that same Google account, you generate a new user account. So like you'll make it works, but you'll generate countless of user accounts as you sign in with Google. So we definitely need to fix that. Then we have some other stuff, like some other aesthetic stuff, like the wrapping on iPad and different sized phones, etc. So we're gonna get to that today, get those two things finished, and then we're gonna see where we're at. Let's get to it.
So I sorted out all of my Google sign-in issues, and that was all good and that was all taken care of. I then moved on to my login button, because the login button right now is kind of hard to see once you don't have any saved sagas inside of your favorite list. So I kind of made this little logic piece of thing where you check first if the saga list is either empty or if it's full or if there's content in it. If it's empty, then the login button will be right under the user since, and if it's full of stuff, then the login button will be at the bottom of it. So I got some errors, etc., but then I managed to solve it out, and I was looking really good with the login button is variable. After this I moved on to a little bit of a sizing issue, because I realized that back in like September, October, when I built this whole main page, I had cheated a little bit and made all of the list views, or the horizontal list views that you see on the front page, a standard size. So they would always be 251 pixels tall, and that works when you're on most iPhones, pretty much all iPhones actually. However, when you start moving on to iPad and potentially larger Android devices in the future, that becomes a little bit messed up, where it doesn't really fit, or the images get squished like they're on the screen right now. So I moved on and I kind of fixed it by finding a little bit of a shortcut where I check for the height of the screen, and then based on the height of the screen I will adapt how high that little list view is, so that it will always be the perfect size of that screen. And it turns out that 0.4 times the height of the screen will always be perfect no matter what the device is. So that worked out quite nicely. And I then tested this on all kinds of devices like the iPhones, the iPads, etc. And it worked nicely on all of them, which I was really happy about.
Okay, so we have now done all of those changes. We fixed the whole Google thing, we've done some resizing, we fixed some login buttons, so that's all good. Let me show you quickly. So first of all, this is an iPad mini, and now we can see that it's correctly sized, there's no overflow, etc., which it was before. And it will also work on all different phones. I think I'm gonna change this a little bit later and make sure all of these have the same size, because now I think there's some have padding, some don't have. But that's an easy fix, doesn't really need a video or a gyro ticket, that's just a quick fix later on. So now we're gonna take this bottom one and we're gonna move it over to done, which is probably the most satisfying thing in the world on our gyro board. So we fixed that. Now you can use iPad, you can use iPhone, etc. Let's also head over to the account. Let's sign in with Google. So what we've also done is that if there's no favorites inside of our favorites list, the logout button will be here, because otherwise it's all the way down. But if I, for example, go to the stories, I press Racing Chickens, I listen to this one, and I decide that, okay, I've listened a little bit.
Raising Chickens. Amy and Francis Henderson were 10-year-old twins.
I like that one, so I add it to my favorites. We go back to the profile page, account details. Now we have that list, and the logout button is underneath. So it's a little bit like interactive depending on if you have stuff or not in that list, which is really good. So some solid progress this week. I think now we have like the audio and the payment left. I think we're gonna make a separate video, a couple of separate videos for those, because it's gonna be a big task. But yeah, all in all, pretty good with all the work that got done. Could have been a lot less productive, could have been more productive too, but you know, good enough. Now it's mid-April. I think I'm gonna take another month. So mid-May we're gonna be complete with all of this, and we're gonna be ready to launch the app. So let's hope we stick on timeline. I'm not really too fussed about the timeline though. I'm not really in a rush for anything. The world doesn't need another mediocre app delivered on time. I don't really mind waiting an extra month if that means we're gonna have a better end result, but I also, at the end of the day, I want to get this out. But That's it for today's video. If you like these videos and you want to continue following the journey, you want to see what happens, you want to see how it goes, don't forget to subscribe down below and leave a thumbs up so that you motivate me to keep going, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.